Okay, so this marks the real starting point of our JavaScript journey, the first time we're going to see code. Just a quick disclaimer here, I need to explain how this is going to work. Everybody wants to get to the exciting stuff, obviously, the stuff I showed you, like creating chat and games and animations and interactive effects and all of this stuff with JavaScript. The thing is, unfortunately, that those sort of applications of JavaScript require not just understanding the basics of JavaScript, but also separately understanding how JavaScript connects to HTML and to CSS and to the browser and to user interactions. So we have to learn the basics of the language first. That's step one. And that will take a couple of sections in this course to get there. Keep that in mind. I know you're going to want to get to, and I personally like to get to the fun stuff where we're all of a sudden working with forms and, user interactions and scrolls and animations. But first, we have to learn how JavaScript works on its own. No HTML, no CSS. We do JavaScript in a vacuum. Then we can take those skills and add on to them. We can learn how to use JavaScript to manipulate stuff that's happening in the browser. How do we respond to user input? We can't do any of that until we have step one done. So just keep that in mind. If you feel discouraged, I promise it will all come together, but we just can't do it first. We have to start with the basics. Now, what are the basics? The first fundamental thing we have to know are the primitive types in JavaScript. So primitive types are just types in general, are a concept across any programming language. Whatever language you're working with will have some set of types. And when I say type, I'm just talking about the different types of information it can store, it can handle, and work with. So commonly, here's an example of a web page. This is a screenshot I took from a YouTube video. We've got different types of information that we could represent, right? We've got text, like the title here of the video, the user's name. All of this is text, of course. But if we were storing this or representing this with a language like JavaScript, we've got textual information. But we also have numbers, the number of views, the number of likes and dislikes. And those really will be helpful if they're actually numbers, because I can add one to it easily or subtract one. Then we have a different type of information, whether I'm subscribed to this channel or not. That's a yes or a no or a true or false value. And you may have seen this if you use YouTube. If you are subscribed, this will show up differently, this button. I think it says subscribed or something, or it says unsubscribed. I don't know what it says, but it's a different color. It's sort of grayed out. So there's a yes or a no value here. There's numbers. There's textual values. These all are things that we can store in JavaScript. There are these basic building blocks, these basic types of information that we can store. So we're going to go through these. I'll just read them out quickly. We have numbers, we have strings, booleans, null and undefined. Those are the 5 basic primitive types, the most sort of fundamental unit in JavaScript, or they're at least the most fundamental unit that we interact with on a daily basis, or even a minutely basis as a JavaScript developer. There's really no other place to start. We have to begin here. Technically, there are 2 other primitive types, something called a symbol and big ints or big integers. Those are way, way, way less commonly used. Don't need to worry about them for now, but I just didn't want people calling me out in the comments. Okay, so in this video, we're going to begin by talking about where we type our code. So we're going to start typing our code in the JavaScript console in Chrome, which is the easiest place to start. It is absolutely not the standard place that developers type code in a professional setting. We will be writing our code in our editor and saving files and all of that, but that requires some overhead where we have to first connect a file to an HTML document and open that in the browser and make sure our script's included in the right place, and it just is more work. When we're doing these basic things, like learning primitive types, it doesn't matter, so we're going to start with the console. To do this, if you have Chrome already, great. Hopefully you do. We've been using it for a while in this course. You can use Firefox. Safari has a JavaScript console. I think pretty much every browser has a console. I have not used Internet Explorer, so I don't know, but hopefully you're not on IE. So all we need to do in Chrome, on any web page, you've already seen how we can inspect, but there's a couple of options. You go to Inspect, and then you go to a different tab here, which is the Console tab. This is our JavaScript console. Depending on the web page you're on, you may see a bunch of messages here. It might look a bit scary. You don't have to worry about any of that. That's just stuff from this web page that you're on. You can actually clear all of this by typing clear with parentheses. There's also a shortcut. I can never remember what it is. But the other option is to open just a blank window or go to one of our web pages we've made and open up the console. So you can right click, go to inspect, go to console, but that's a couple of steps. There's also a shortcut. I use it, it's on a Mac at least, Command Option J. It goes straight to the console. Another option, if you're in Chrome, go to, View, Developer, and then JavaScript console. You can see the shortcut on your machine there. If you're not on a Mac, you'll see it right there. That's the console that I'll be using. That's a shortcut I use all the time. So if you just see it appear, that's what I'm doing. So what this is right here is a place for me to type code so I can do simple things like some math here. Well, assuming I type valid numbers, I can hit enter, and that code is run, and it's repeated back to me, or the result is shown to me. This is actually something known as a REPL, read, evaluate, print, loop. So it's reading in my code, it evaluates it, it adds it together in this case, it prints out the result, and it loops, meaning it just keeps going. It doesn't just stop. Compared to most scripts and most programming languages, you type some code, you hit run, and it runs, and then you're done. The console is a place where I can just quickly and interactively play around with code. So it's a great place to demonstrate things and just to learn the basics, but we don't write long or really anything in here that we want to have any permanence, because as soon as I close this window or refresh, my code is gone. So we definitely will be working in files soon enough. The other thing I'll show you is I do like to pop this out when I'm just writing JavaScript into its own window, because we're not going to worry about the rest of the HTML and CSS. We don't care about the content at the moment. We're just going to type some code. All right, so make sure you're comfortable opening that up, and now we can begin with our first primitive type, numbers.